something is off. And you feel it. You've been feeling it for a while now. Not in a dramatic, obvious way. Not in a way that anyone else would notice. But in that quiet, private space inside yourself, you know. Something has shifted. Something that used to burn has gone cold. And instead of confronting it, you've been working very hard to ignore it. This isn't about failure. Not yet. This is about something far more dangerous than failure. This is about the slow, invisible process of giving up. The kind that doesn't announce itself. The kind that happens in small, almost invisible steps. The kind that feels so gradual that by the time you notice how far you've drifted, you can barely remember who you were when you started. That is what we need to talk about today. Most people imagine that giving up looks like a single moment, a decision, a collapse, a morning when you wake up and say, I quit. But that's not how it actually happens. Giving up doesn't arrive like a storm. It arrives like a slow change in weather. So gradual, you barely reach for a coat until you're already cold. It starts with one morning, just one. You skip the thing you were supposed to do. And you tell yourself it's fine. Because it is fine. Once. You'll make up for it tomorrow. And maybe you do. Or maybe you don't quite make up for it. But you move on. And then it happens again. And the justification gets a little easier. A little faster. The voice inside you that used to push back starts to stay quiet. Not because it agrees with you, but because it's tired of arguing with you. You stop waking up when you intended to. Not by hours, just by minutes at first. But those minutes add up. You stop finishing what you start. Not everything, just certain things. The hard things. The ones that require sustained attention. The ones that ask something real of you. You start choosing comfort over effort. Not always, just more than before. You start spending your energy on things that feel productive but aren't. Organizing instead of creating. Researching instead of doing. Planning instead of starting. And it all feels reasonable in the moment. Every single choice feels reasonable in the moment. That is the trap. Because none of these individual decisions feels like giving up. Each one feels like a sensible adjustment, a necessary rest, a temporary pause. But string them together, day after day, week after week, and you get a picture. And that picture is of someone who has been slowly, quietly retreating from the version of themselves they once committed to becoming. Think about where you were 6 months ago, or a year ago. Think about what you said you would do. Think about the standards you set for yourself, the habits you were going to build, the work you were going to put in. Now look honestly at where you are. Not to punish yourself, not to feel shame, just look clearly, without the excuses, without the rationalizations. Just a simple, honest comparison between what you intended and what you've actually been doing. That gap, that space between intention and action, that is where you've been giving up. Quietly. Consistently, every single day. And here's what makes it so difficult to catch. The decline feels normal. When you're in it, it feels like your new baseline. It feels like this is just who you are now. You forget that you chose this, that every distraction you picked it up. That every difficult task you avoided it. That every standard you lowered it. The drift feels like gravity. Natural, inevitable, but it isn't. It is a series of decisions, small ones, accumulating without interruption, because no one stopped to interrupt them until now. Here is a part that matters most, and I need you to sit with this. You already know this is happening. You don't need me to convince you. You've felt it. You've seen the signs in your own behavior. In the way you pick up your phone the moment anything becomes uncomfortable. In the way you feel vaguely guilty after a day where nothing real got done. In the way you still have that idea, that goal, that project sitting somewhere in the back of your mind, and you haven't touched it. In the way you sometimes catch a glimpse of who you used to be, or who you wanted to be, and there's a faint ache. Not nostalgia, something more uncomfortable than that. Recognition. You recognize that person, and you also recognize that you've been moving away from them. That recognition, that discomfort, that is not a sign that it's too late. That is the signal. That is the only thing you need to begin. Because awareness, real awareness, honest and unflinching awareness of where you are and what you've been doing is not the end of something. It is the beginning of the only path back that actually works. You cannot fix what you refuse to see. But once you see it clearly, you have a choice that you didn't have before. Now, let's talk about what comes after awareness. Because awareness without action is just well-informed suffering. And what you need is not to feel bad about where you are. What you need is to understand, practically and calmly, what it looks like to stop the drift, to correct course, to rebuild. And here is the first thing you need to understand. You do not need a dramatic restart. You do not need to wait for the right moment, the right Monday, the right month, the right version of yourself to arrive. Transformation is not a switch. It is not a single decision made in an emotionally charged moment. Those decisions rarely hold. What holds is something much less exciting. What holds is small, consistent, daily action. Showing up when you don't feel like it. Doing the work when the motivation isn't there. Because motivation was never supposed to carry you. That was never its job. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the engine. And you rebuild discipline the same way it eroded, one decision at a time. Start with what you can control today. Not this week, not this month, today. What is one thing you've been avoiding that you know matters? Do that. Not perfectly, just do it. Show up to it. Give it real attention. Let yourself feel the resistance and move through it anyway. Because that movement, that act of choosing effort over comfort even once, is how you begin to rebuild trust with yourself. Because that's what you've damaged most. Not your habits, not your routine, your self-trust. Every time you told yourself you would do something and then didn't, a small part of you stopped believing yourself. And when you stop believing your own word to yourself, motivation doesn't stand a chance. Why would you push for something if you don't believe you'll follow through? The rebuild starts with small promises kept, small acts of integrity with yourself. One task finished, one morning honored, one distraction resisted. These are not small things. These are the things that tell your mind, I am someone who does what I say. And that belief changes everything downstream. Reduce the noise around you, not forever. Just enough to hear yourself think. The constant stimulation, the endless scrolling, the background content, the manufactured urgency of everything demanding your attention. It is not rest. It is not recovery. It is avoidance dressed up as leisure. Real rest is intentional. Real stillness allows the mind to reset. What passes for relaxation in a distracted life is often just a sophisticated way of running from the discomfort of your own goals. Notice what you reach for the moment something gets hard. That thing, whatever it is, that is your primary mechanism of avoidance. Not your enemy, but something to be managed. Something to be honest about. Take responsibility fully, without conditions. This is not about blame. It is about power. Because the moment you accept complete responsibility for where you are, you also accept complete authority over where you're going. Victim and agent cannot occupy the same space. You are not where you are because of circumstances alone. You are here because of a long series of choices you made. Even the choice to not choose. Even the choice to stay still when movement was needed. Own that. Not as a punishment, as a reclamation of power. And then, be patient. This is where most people stumble again. They start, they feel the resistance, they do not see immediate results, and they conclude that it isn't working, that they've left it too late, that they've damaged something beyond repair. This is not true. Momentum does not rebuild overnight, but it does rebuild. Every day you show up and do the work, you are laying something. You may not feel it yet, but it is there. The compound effect of discipline works exactly the same way as the compound effect of its absence. Slowly, quietly, until one day the results are undeniable. Now, consider two people. They are in the same position. Both have been drifting. Both feel the familiar weight of a life not quite lived at the level they intended. Both are at the same crossroads. One of them decides that today is not the right day. They tell themselves they'll address it soon, when things settle, when they feel more ready, when the circumstances are better. And so, they continue. Slowly, the standards drop a little further. The gap between who they are and who they meant to be widens a little more. The voice inside them that once pushed back grows a little quieter. And years pass. Not dramatically, just steadily, until one day they look back and realize that the life they intended to live was available to them. It was always available to them. And they let it slip through the space between intention and action. Consistency is the third discipline, and it is the one most people underestimate. Consistency is not glamorous. It does not trend. It does not feel inspiring on the days when you're tired and the work is hard and no one is watching. But consistency is the only thing that converts intention into reality. 1 day of effort means almost nothing. 300 days of effort means everything. Show up, not when you feel ready, not when you feel inspired. Show up because you decided to. And that decision is enough. Long-term growth is the final discipline. The understanding that you are not building for this week. You are building for the version of yourself that exists years from now. Every choice you make today is a vote for or against that version. Every time you choose effort, you vote for them. Every time you choose comfort, you vote against them. It's not that comfort is wrong. Rest is necessary. But chosen comfort, avoidance disguised as rest, that is a vote against the future you. And it compounds just as surely as effort does. You are not going to give up. Not today. Not because this speech told you so, but because somewhere inside you, underneath the drift and the excuses and the comfortable numbness, there is still something that wants more, that has always wanted more, that never actually agreed to the slow surrender. That part of you has been waiting, quietly, patiently, persistently. It has been sending you signals, in the form of restlessness, in the form of that ache when you see someone living fully, in the form of the guilt after wasted days. Those are not signs of weakness. Those are signs of a self that has not yet given up on you, even when you were close to giving up on it. Giving up is not a single decision. It is a pattern, a slow accumulation of small surrenders. And the only way to break a pattern is to interrupt it. Right here, right now, with one different choice than the one you've been making. You are not done. You have never been done. And the fact that you're here, listening to this, sitting with this discomfort rather than running from it, already proves it. Now comment these words, right now. Say it out loud. Say it where others can see it. Say it as a declaration to yourself, not a performance for anyone else. Comment this, I am not done yet.